What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning into the Millionaire Morning Show. Horrible, absolutely, positively horrible news. As a matter of fact, I would go as so far as to say it's egregious. Right? I didn't even do my Millionaire Morning Show intro today, but I definitely wanted to bring you guys all of the details and the live coverage from the press conference of Brittney Griner, WNBA star. That's a stretch, right? WNBA player that was over in Russia, and we've been following this story for about 9 to 10 months or so. But Biden has secured the release of Brittney Griner. Now, on the outset, it would seem as though this is a good deal, right? But in reality, we all know that this was absolutely egregious. So we pivot in today. We going live a little bit earlier. I had to move some things back, so on and so forth. And so I know we usually go live about 2.5 hours from now, but it's absolutely important that we have this conversation because I want to emphasize how incompetent, and I'm going to be absolutely positively direct with you guys, how incompetent this administration is. Again, on the outside, it would seem as though this is an absolutely good deal. This is live. Shout out to Noble Xavier. Shout out to everybody that's rocking out with me. On the outside, it sounds like this is a really good deal, but when you consider the circumstances behind it and also what it was that they got in return, it was absolutely egregious. So let me just give you the details really quickly, and I want to share an article with you guys, and then we're going to go over to the live coverage because I want to show you guys exactly what was communicated during the press conference. Let me pivot really quickly and get this up on my screen so you guys can see exactly what's going on. We're going to go to the video, but first we're going to go over here to this article because I want to show you what's happening. Brittney Griner obviously released, so this is news. Make sure you guys hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. And then more importantly, make sure you tap into the Patreon. I got a Patreon exclusive live video that is releasing today with Charleston White. So we got that interview coming today. But before we get into that, so the prisoner swap was for Russian's arms dealer, Viktor Bout. Now, this guy has basically had a movie made about him. If any of you guys have ever seen The Lord of War, that's what it is. He's that guy. He's the Lord of War. They had him in basically little Guantanamo Bay over in Illinois. And here's the caveat. Here's the cherry on top for one of the most insignificant, stupid prisoner swaps that we've ever seen in our life. Paul Whelan is still over in Russia. So we brought home a woman that wouldn't even stand for the national anthem and does not stand for anything that goes on in this country. But we left Paul Whelan and then we traded in the Lord of War for it. We're going to go over to the press conference really quickly, but let's just go through this article so I can give you guys the details. This is courtesy of USA Today. Said Russia freed WNBA star Brittney Griner on Thursday in a dramatic high-level prisoner exchange with the U.S. releasing notorious Russian arms dealer Viktor Bout. Okay? American and Russian officials said the swap at the time of heightened tensions over Ukraine achieved the top goal for President Biden, a very bad one, but carried a heavy price and left behind an American jailed for nearly 4 years. So Brittney had self-inflicted wounds, was sentenced to a Russian penal colony. I mean, listen, I'm going to break down how this finesse happened, and it does not have to be that complicated. This was a finesse by Russia at the highest level, but we're going to continue. The deal, the second such exchange in 8 months with Russia procured the release of the most prominent American detained abroad. Griner is a two-time Olympic gold medal, blah, 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 blah. Biden's authorization to release a Russian felon, once nicknamed the Merchant of Death, underscored the escalating pressure that his administration faced to get Griner home, particularly after the recent resolution of her criminal case and her subsequent transfer to a penal colony. The swap was confirmed by U.S. officials with direct knowledge of the negotiations who were not authorized to publicly discuss the deal before a White House announcement and spoke on condition of anonymity. Biden spoke with Griner on the phone on Thursday while her wife, Sherelle, shout out to the real Sherelle that be in the chat, while her wife, Sherelle, was in the Oval Office. The president was to address reporters later this morning. All right. This is Viktor Bout. All right, for all of you that are trying to figure out exactly who it is, Viktor Bout. So we're going to go over to the press conference, but let me give you my thoughts really quickly. You have a woman that goes over to Russia during a war with Ukraine, carries with her whatever it is that you say that she was prescribed over here in the U.S., which I think is cap by the team, because I have never heard of a team allowing for a player to be able to smoke, neither here nor there. She goes over there, go to finesse, but the precursor to it is that she was against everything that the United States of America stood for, right? She goes over there, gets caught, gets sentenced. I don't necessarily think it was the right sentence. However, I can't control what their laws are in other countries. That's like somebody coming over from another country and telling us what we should do in the United States of America. No, that cannot happen. Goes over there, get caught. We got two prisoners over there from America that actually stands for what it is that we represent. Allegedly falsely arrested, held, detained, been over there for 4 years. We bring her home, send over to there the Lord of War, the Russian merchant of death, for a person that does not even represent what America stands for, in my personal opinion. So help me to understand how this makes sense from a negotiation perspective. Why is this a fair trade? Why would we trade somebody that is literally flooding the world with guns that allow for us to kill each other? Literally was a movie made about him called The Lord of War, nicknamed the Russian Merchant of Death, for a person that wouldn't even stand for the national anthem. How does this make sense? And black people are going to stand up and say, ooh, yay. We are so crazy and bamboozled, and we do not understand how things move in the United States of America. Then all they did was bought your vote, and they sold you death as a result of it. Shout out to Brock. Brock said it's mind-boggling how people are so excited about this horrible exchange. Horrible is an understatement. Horrible is an understatement. Thank you for the first super chat of the day. I'm going to go over to the press conference, and then we're going to mine this out because, again, I think that this is the worst thing that I've ever seen in my entire life. Worst trade ever by a president, in my opinion. Let's go over here to this press conference, and then I want to see what y'all talking about in the chat, because this is dumb. This is absolutely stupid. Tazi says, fam, Viktor Bout, not nothing to play with. Russia really had the U.S. by the balls, and it's my theory that Biden been effing up so bad that he did this for political capital, and I agree with you. Thank you for the 20 ball. Here's the caveat to that, though. Russia played chess with these people, and let me tell you how they did it. They knew that we was so weak and that we wouldn't stand for nothing, because black people was the 90s. Black people is going to vote Democrat by 97% on average, and these are facts, right? And so we always make decisions based off of emotion based instead of logic. They sold out America for your vote. They sold out America for your vote. They traded the Russian merchant of death for a WNBA player that don't even represent and don't even stand for the national anthem. This is crazy. Shout out to Jay Hunter Lee. Says, was Lord of War the movie played by Nicolas Cage? Yes, it was. And now you know. Yes, it was. So they sentenced her. They sentenced her to a long sentence because they knew that y'all was going to cry and get emotional. And then it played right into their hands because they said, listen, we about to call off the negotiations for the second time and we not coming back to the table, so F you. And y'all said, okay, we going to leave Paul Whelan, the American that's been over there for 4 years that's actually served the United States government. We going to leave Paul Whelan and his family Whelan in order to bring the black woman over to the White House so we can continue to secure votes. Let me go over to this and see if we can mine this out a little bit more.
Good morning, everybody. We are following breaking news at this hour out of Russia, nearly 10 months after her arrest and incarceration there. WNBA star Brittney Griner is headed home.
Yeah, breaking and welcome news. Russia has agreed to a prisoner swap with the U.S. We're going to go straight to NBC's chief foreign affairs correspondent, Andrea Mitchell. She has these breaking details. Andrea, what can you tell us?
Good morning, Savannah and Hoda. Well, according to a senior administration official, Brittney Griner is free after 294 days in Russian captivity. The last month spent in one of Russia's notoriously harsh penal colonies. She was traded for Russian arms dealer Viktor Bout, who Vladimir Putin has been trying to get back, and who had served 11 years of a 25-year sentence in the U.S. President Biden signed off on the trade, even though it meant leaving another American, businessman Paul Whelan, behind bars in Russia.
Okay, before we get into this press conference, ladies and gentlemen, Jay, let me read some of these super chats. Jay Hunter Lee said, "This is pandering at its best. This is pandering at its worst." Jay Hunter Lee, at its worst. Robert said, "The U.S. is crumbling from the inside and so weak, so weak." And you're gonna see in this press conference, you got Kamala Harris, who I like to call Camp Cam, is standing in the back looking like a sick puppy. And I just can't believe that we just gonna continue to fall for this foolishness. And it's absolutely insane. It is insane. But let's continue. Let's mind this out, y'all.
Over the weekend, Secretary of State Antony Blinken saying the U.S. has been actively engaged in discussions with Russia about a possible prisoner swap to free Brittney Griner and Paul Whelan.
We have to see if the engagements that we've had, the discussions that we have, produce an actual result.
Griner, the 32-year-old WNBA superstar,
And
has
she
spent
over the hill.
10 months in Russian custody.
And she listen. Not only did we go out and get this chick that shot herself in the foot by doing the thing that she wasn't supposed to do in a place that she wasn't even supposed to be in at the time. But she did it for the money, and so she took a gamble and she lost. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. We still left Paul Whelan over there, traded the Russian merchant of death, and then got a chick that don't even care about the United States, and she over the hill. And she passed the wall. This is sick. This is absolutely sick.
Arrested at a Moscow airport in February, she admitted to bringing less than a gram of medicinal cannabis into the country.
And she had a Black Lives Matters hoodie on. Whoever this guy is right here, he deserves a raise, because this dude right here is the person that secured the release of the Russian merchant of death for Vladimir Putin. Putin, if you ever watch this live stream, I think you should promote this guy to the head of your security, because this guy is the guy that got you that bag. You might be having problems over in Ukraine. You might be freezing out Europe over there as far as pushing gas and stuff over there. But I tell you what, you stood on your principles and you manned up and you out negotiated this weak United States of America. It is absolutely insane. Biden is a Russian asset. Facts. Shout out to Super Saya Isaac. This is insane, man. I cannot believe what it is that I'm looking at. And you know what she gonna do? She gonna come over here and get richer. She's gonna come over here and get richer. I'm about to move.
Never intended to break any law. Her plight sparked an outpouring from her family, teammates, and fans. Griner's wife, Sherelle.
I'm frustrated that my wife is not going to get justice.
Are y'all hearing this? That her wife. Think about what we're seeing here before we get to this press conference. Everything that you're seeing here is a reflection of what Sodom and Gomorrah probably was described as in the Bible. Everything is backwards. We giving out Russian arms dealers, leaving people that are truly innocent over in Russia, and then we're trading them for not only a person that does not stand for what America represents, but we're also trading her for a lifestyle that continues to emphasize and put into our heads the things that we should not be accepting within our own families and our own households. Tell me in any way possible, somebody, anybody in the chat, tell me why. Give me one thing that makes sense here that was actually done right. Somebody tell me one thing that makes sense here that was done right. Give me anything. Give me anything good that came from this. You know how when you mess up in life or you make a mistake or you do something stupid, you can be like, well, at least I learned from it. Or, at least if that didn't happen, we wouldn't be where we are today as far as, me having I slept with this chick. She was for the streets, but I got my daughter and my daughter is a saint of God. Tell me one thing that came from this that was actually positive and made sense. Just one. I've been saying that this, I told Lamar Odom, I said, fam, this is a bad deal if I have not seen a bad deal in my life.
I know you all are frustrated too. That's why you're here.
Sentenced to 9 years in prison, Griner appealed, pleading for leniency from behind bars.
This has been a very traumatic experience waiting for this day.
But
that sound like a straight up man back there. What happened to equal? Listen, if that was a man, it would not have been even a conversation. What happened to equal? That sound like a dude back there. Omar Fitz says, justice is people here in America, they know for a fact that are innocent, but they trade a monster for a basketball player, not even a basketball player, a losing basketball player. This makes no logical sense. Thank you for the 5-ball, Omar Fitz. Janessa Coleman, always looking out, says, good morning, family. She's coming home. Glad to hear her. I don't know about that, Janessa. I would have left her over there, baby. I know you love and support what we got going over there, but I would have left that chick over there. Is no way in the world I'm trading the Russian merchant of death, leaving Paul Whelan, and then having this chick come home that don't even stand for the national anthem and is against everything that America stands for. There's no way in the world that I'm bringing this chick home. Let's continue, y'all. That was crazy.
he was denied. President Biden last month.
I'm telling you, I am determined to get her home and get her home safely.
Now, we know at any cost.
Along with others, I might add.
The other American held by Russia will not be coming home. Paul Whelan, a former Marine, a businessman, detained.
A former Marine that served the United States of America and businessman. A former Marine. Let me tell you what Vladimir and Biden was doing over there. Vladimir, he got the lube out. He oiled Biden up, and he went to town. A former Marine and businessman. That means that this man actually contributes to society. He has served his country, and he pays his taxes, and he stands for the national anthem. Look at that good white man over there that's losing his hair. Look at that white man over there that's over in a Russian penal colony serving his time and doing his sentence like a man. And we decided that we wanted to bring home a chick that don't even represent what it is that we do here in America? Come on, man. Listen, get out of your feelings and let's have a conversation. The conversation is, why are we going through this and why are we having this conversation and negotiating for this chick in the first place? This makes absolutely no sense. Shout out to Mr. Dunbar. Mr. Dunbar says, DNC is distracting again. Elon exposing tampering from Democrats, clean up the aisle to the left. And no, you know why it's not going to happen? Because black people are going to continue to vote the same way that they vote. Me and Charleston White had a conversation about this last night. We literally had a conversation about this last night. It's sickening. It's sickening. Sickening. Absolutely disgraceful.
4 years ago, is serving a 16-year prison sentence after being accused of spying, which the U.S. strongly denies. Whelan's family later raised concerns about his safety, which I asked the Secretary of State about last week.
We're working to bring him home, to bring Brittney Griner home. But this is, again, what we see Russia doing in terms of abusing the very basic understandings that countries have had when it comes to having access to our citizens who are being detained.
Those familiar with these very hard negotiations say that the Russians absolutely refuse to release Paul Whelan without getting a Russian spy in return. But the U.S. insists it does not have any Russian spies in U.S. custody. So the administration says it had no one to trade to meet that Russian demand. And again, the U.S. maintains that Paul Whelan is wrongfully detained. He's a businessman, not a spy. And just now we also got a statement from the group that has been campaigning for all of these hostages to be released from all over the world, actually, saying Paul Whelan has been let down and left behind by at least 3 times by 2 American presidents. He deserves better from his government, and our campaign implores President Biden to urgently secure Paul's immediate return using all tools available. We understand the president...
Trump would have never went for this. Trump was not negotiating. Trump would have never went for this bull crap. Trump would have never, ever traded in the Russian merchant. The Russian merchant of death was still here when Trump was president. Now he's on a first class up in the sky. Now he on a first class flight to go over there and help them fight in Ukraine. He on a first class flight. Listen, he probably flying Delta One. We probably paying for the flight.
Very much the breaking news. Brittney Griner has been freed. Paul Whelan left behind. Let's go to Chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander.
A lot of women on this.
What's the word there, Peter?
Savannah, we do expect to hear from President Biden at 8:30, so 15 minutes from now. And we have just learned that Brittney Griner's wife, is right now in the Oval Office here at the White House. She is behind closed doors with the president. The two of them were.
This was a setup, y'all. They set up the press conference so that they can stand in front of y'all, give y'all the ooh-wop shebang bamboozle, and then make sure that you guys fell right into the trap. And you know what y'all gonna do? We's gonna vote Democrats today. We's gonna listen. President Biden, at least he brought Brittney Griner home. Stupid.
Were able to speak by phone earlier this morning with Brittney Griner after she was returned to U.S. custody. And then, as we understand it, Sherelle was able to have a private conversation with her wife, Brittney, from the president's study. But this concludes for the Griner family what has just been a very distressing situation over the course of the last 10 months. The president has said this was a top priority. He had exchanged a letter with Griner in the past, who wrote him over the summer saying that she was terrified.
Shout out to 31 Navy. We appreciate you and we love you for your service. Said Biden just gave me a reason to not re-enlist. The commander-in-chief just turned his back on his own military. Shout out to you. This is absolutely unacceptable. Also, One Man Army says Mark Fogel, U.S. teacher sentenced to 14 years for traveling to Russia with cannabis. He's 61 years old and he has a very long history of a spinal injury. It's crazy. Thank y'all for the super chats. Thank y'all for supporting the platform. AP also says, old Joe swaps Brittney Griner for a Russian merchant of death and leaves a U.S. Marine Paul Whelan detained in Russia. Hashtag America shaking my head. I feel the same way. Decipher with the 50 ball. Thank you for sponsoring the platform. We appreciate people that absolutely positively pushes for me to continue to do this great work that I do on a daily basis and sacrificing my time in order to bring you the news from a realistic perspective. Ryan Decipher says, think about the slick messaging behind this sour trade. The most guilty woman will always be more valuable than the most innocent of men. She admitted to guilt. This dude is doing 14 to 16 years over there in a Russian penal colony and already did 4 of his years. And she admitted to guilt, and he's still over there, and she flying back home, and she wouldn't even stand for your national anthem. You see what I'm saying, Ryan? You see what we got to deal with? If you think that this makes sense, then listen, I could be wrong on a lot of things, but I'm definitely not wrong on this one. I'm wrong on a lot of things. Not this time. Not this one, bucko. Facts. Look. This is like trading LeBron, AD, and 4 first-round picks for a middle school player. I say an elementary school player that we don't even know how tall they're going to be yet. Shout out to Rod 870. Repubs did that when Trump released Wayne and Kodak. How did the Republicans didn't trade for a release for Wayne and Kodak. Trump just released them because he apparently felt like they unjustly were doing sentences that did not align with what it is that they can contribute to society. We'd rather have Wayne and Kodak out here working the road and then paying their taxes instead of paying for them to be locked up. See, you don't understand it from a business perspective and you speaking emotionally. I want my people out here working so that they can contribute to the American tax base and we can get our infrastructure together and we can compete against other countries. We don't need Wayne and Kodak locked up. We need them on the road, generating revenue and then paying a significant amount because they are in the top 0.001% in taxes. It was a strategy behind that. That's why Trump released them. You're better off working and contributing to society than you are sitting and us paying for you to be locked up and you ain't making no money. You don't get that, do you? Was that Went right over your head. No, but we're going to go ahead and release Brittney Griner and make sure that she continues to do what? Not stand for the national anthem? What? Go over there and get foreign money? What? Not do nothing that actually adds to the fabric of the United States of America? What? Get women privilege even though she identified? Never mind. I'm not even going to say that. It's black, shout out to C Love, says, it's black freedom fighters, Panthers, and people locked up because of the crime bill and people celebrating like this is the second coming of Jesus. Brittney Griner will now be your new hero, ladies and gentlemen. She will be the spokesperson and the new mascot for the Democratic Party. She will be the spokesperson and the new mascot for the Democratic Party, ladies and gentlemen.
She would be there forever in Russian custody. The good news this morning that the White House will certainly be celebrating today.
Whistler, you know why I'm able to evaluate this thing from an honest and a better perspective? Because I look at everything from a business perspective. I look at relationships, marriage, entrepreneurship, corporate America, and even when it comes to content creation, I understand the business side of it. And why would we keep people locked up that can authentically contribute to society? What we need to be doing is rehabilitating and stabilizing what it is that we have so that we can provide the infrastructure for these people to contribute to the fabric of America by becoming good people and a wholesome tax base. It's no reason to leave people locked up just for the sake of leaving them locked up because we're emotional. We have to get these people working. We have to get these people contributing to America. We got to get these people to be whatever it is that we need them to be so that we can then contribute to what it is that we got to do and compete out there. We can't look at it emotionally. This was an emotional decision so that they can continue to get the black vote and then continue to have this power structure. My point is it's all pandering, both do it. No, your point fell on deaf ears. It wasn't pandering. Do you know that Trump, I'll give you an example. A good friend of mine, Kwame Kilpatrick, just talked to him yesterday. Kwame got released after the election in which Trump knew that he wasn't going back into the White House. And on the final day, did you know that Trump released more black people on his final day in office and throughout his tenure than any other president? I'll do you one better. Do you know that President Barack Obama actually deported more illegal immigrants than Trump did, but y'all fought him against the war and against being hard on illegal immigration? The only difference was that it was widely publicized what Trump was doing, but them ICE agents was getting them people up out of there and running these black people on up out of there and being hard on y'all. But y'all voted twice for President Barack Obama. You voted twice for him and he did nothing for black people, but at the same time, he championed and he highlighted the LGBTQ agenda, and he did the same thing, if not worse, than Trump did that you said that you didn't like, but you celebrated him, and then you wanted to go back and you wanted to lambaste Trump as a result of it. Now tell me how that makes sense. Tell me how it makes sense. Shout out to Danny. Danny boy says, shout out to you. I appreciate you. Thank you for holding me down and contributing to the platform. Look it up. He actually deported more illegals, but you went after Trump as a result of it. Do your research. Do your research. Let's go into this.
Today is the release of Brittney Griner. And again, to repeat, Sherelle Griner, the president, is in the Oval Office with the president right now.
He was getting an
opportunity to speak alongside the president with her wife just this morning. Savannah Hoda.
All right, Peter Alexander, thank you so much. We're going to continue to keep a close eye on the story all morning long. We're going to bring you updates. And of course, we'll have coverage on NBC Nightly News.
I want to go over to the press conference.
Hold on. United White House right now.
Weekend saying that negotiations
Look at that.
Were being done at the top leagues.
Hold on, let me get over to the press conference.
Had heard in this private phone call from her wife, but also we heard from those.
Let me see if I can get over to the
city. But he's been let down 3 times and by 2 American presidents, as you mentioned. Obviously, something that is heartbreaking for that family. Let's talk about what happens next, as Joe mentioned at the time.
On a plane, she is on her way home. We also know that Griner's wife, Sherelle, is at the White House and also had a private conversation with her.
Let me mute that for a second. Shout out to Shalika Knowles Sports, says race baiting we haven't caught on yet. Race baiting we haven't caught on yet. Yo, they know exactly what y'all gonna do before y'all do it, and they definitely held y'all down and put y'all in a bamboozle. And they just y'all fell for a hook, line, and sinker. Thank you, Shalika. I appreciate you, baby girl. They fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. Hook, line, and sinker. They just fell right on for it. Let me see if I can get him.
What's your
at work with us working
operators in their custody?
And how would an arrangement like that work with us working with Germany to try to make that happen?
I think we would obviously have to go to the Germans and
this is silly.
Their,
look at the photo op.
And then obviously,
hey, look at the photo. Look, listen. We about to go over to the press conference and we gonna see. Look at Cam. Look at the photo op, y'all. If this is not throw up worthy, I don't know what it is. Jay Hunter Lee says Obama administration also built those cages at the border those kids were put in also, but Trump got blamed. Facts. This is all facts. Thank you, Jay Hunter Lee. Look at this photo op. Look at this. You got Cam on the right. You got her quote unquote wife in the middle, smiling. You got Joe with his cup of Joe in the middle. And he's looking sympathetic like this. Yeah, girl, we're going to get you home on a plane. Y'all fell for the okie doke. Briscoe the King says, LGBTQ, black, female, enough said. 100. They are more protected. The most protected class of people on the face of the earth. Yet we continue to move in a way that is not beneficial for what our families are needing and America needs. And this ain't it. Democrats just secured the black vote again. Facts. No, Tony, I'll do you one better. They had the black vote before they ever did this. The Democrats had the black vote before this ever hit. This is just the cherry on top. This is a spit in y'all face.
To agree that this is a fair swap from their perspective, but they do have one person in custody who killed a Georgian who was seeking refuge in a Georgian, meaning from the country of Georgia, Republic of Georgia, seeking refuge in Germany. There was a Russian operative who assassinated that individual. And then just yesterday, when the Russians uncovered the Germans uncovered a scheme to overthrow their government, sort of similar to our January 6th attack, they rounded up a Russian citizen with the Germans who were plotting to overthrow the German government. And it's likely that person was, according to the media, helping the Germans.
Evelyn, stand by here. We want to go back to Molly Hunter, who's helping us with our.
Let me see if I can get this
Brittney involved in security.
What does it say, if anything, about U.S.-Russian relations right now? Was this inevitable, or was this always going to be an incredible challenge and something that may not have happened?
You know, Joe, I think that this was inevitable in the sense that it was pretty obvious that Vladimir Putin really wanted Viktor Bout back badly.
Well, of course they wanted him back. He's the Russian merchant of death.
And so at some point,
Here's Savannah Guthrie and Hoda Kotb.
Hi, everybody. We continue to follow this breaking news out of Russia this morning. WNBA star Brittney Griner heading home a prisoner after 10 months. President Biden.
I'm reading all super chats, y'all. I got to highlight all of the super chats. Shout out to Briscoe the King, says, worse than the Rudy Gobert trade. Love the content. Thank you for contributing to the platform. Before we get into this press conference, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, and support the platform. Make sure you turn on your notifications. Secondly, I did not do, shout out to the Tej folks. I didn't run the ad today because I wanted to go live and kick it with y'all. Tej Hanley, uncomplicated skincare for men, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. That link is in the description. And then last but not least, if you are not a part of the Patreon, we're doing a Patreon meetup in Miami, New Year's Eve, rooftop. I also dropped the video 2 days ago. I'm also dropping a video today. New interview, 2 hours, uncensored, Charleston White. Also got a new mayor coming up on the platform. Also got Crimson Cure coming up on the platform. Also got a lot of people building a business. So many different things are happening in this process. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. And I got a new channel coming. New channel will be announced tomorrow morning. A new channel will be announced tomorrow morning, and it is going to be absolutely awesome. Make sure you subscribe to the Patreon. The link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let's go into this press conference, ladies and gentlemen.
At the White House, let's listen.
Standing together with her wife, Sherelle.
I'm going to read all the super
office,
chats.
I spoke with Brittney Griner. She's safe. She's on a plane. She's on her way home. After months of being unjustly detained in Russia, held under intolerable circumstances. Brittney will soon be back in the arms of her loved ones, and she should have been there all along. This is a day we've worked toward for a long time. We never stopped pushing for her release. It took painstaking and intense negotiations, and I want to thank all the hardworking public servants across my administration who worked tirelessly to secure her release. I also want to thank the UAE for helping us facilitate Brittney's return, because that's where she landed. These past few months have been hell for Brittney and for Charlie and her entire family and all her teammates.
Look at Cam in the back. Look at Cam in the back. If this is not a spit in the face, I don't know what is. Let me read some of these super chats. I'm reading all super chats today, ladies and gentlemen. King Stephen UGD says, this proves women weaken a country when captured by enemies. Let me tell you one thing. One thing is for sure and two things is for certain. I just got content for a whole week. I just got content for a whole week on this one. I'm going to mine this out. I'm going to split this, dip this, make sure that you get every single piece of insight and information that you need in order to be able to make informed decisions. And we know that it come back to the money. We know it come back to the money, ladies and gentlemen. Shalika Knowles Sports says, they more important than war heroes. This can't be life. This can't be life. Listen, Shalika, this is why I ain't worried about nothing. This is why I don't focus on the things that everybody else focus on. When everybody is over there talking about how they feel and blackety black and the issues and all of this, I'll be like, listen, bag chasers, assemble. Let's go and get to the money. Let's go and get to the money, because let me tell you what happens. Don't nobody care about how you feel. It's all based off of an agenda that is going to feed back into what it is that's best for them, not what's best for you. They secured this release so that they can stay in power and keep office. They seen that things was happening that was outside of their control as far as people were starting to wake up. And there's no better way in order to do that. They always do this to y'all. They give y'all a protest. They give y'all some cop that did something. They give you an egregious thing. And now, you know, they're giving you Brittney Griner. Like we needed her. What has Brittney Griner actually contributed to society and American culture outside of not standing up for the American flag and going against everything that we stand for? Just curious. Just curious. What is Brittney Griner giving us? I would make the argument that Brittney Renner gave us more than Brittney Griner, because at least Brittney Renner is entertaining. And somebody can bust that down. At least somebody can bust down Brittney Renner. What is Brittney Griner giving us? At least Brittney Renner is contributing to society by opening her legs and giving herself over into the men that needs her, that needs that womb, that need that Gawk 3000. She gave us a book that was incredibly entertaining. At least Brittney Renner is entertaining when she talks. Brittney Griner is unentertaining when she jumps up and she attempts to dunk, and sometimes she misses. Shout out to Freedman's Journal. Freedman's Journal says, so there is a target on the back of black women WNBA players. They are as valuable as international trade as an arms dealer. It's more entertaining to watch Pornhub than it is to watch Brittney Griner on the basketball court. And that is a fact. And I don't even watch porn. It is more entertaining to watch somebody take the whole thing than it is to watch these women on the WNBA court. Facts. Shalika says, I became a bag chaser because your thoughts align. Thank you. Shout out to the bag chasers. Can we get a round of applause for all of the bag chasers, the new bag chasers, the people that's been here for an extended period of time? Can we get a shout and a round of applause? Tyler Benton said, I stayed up all night, so please tell me I'm having a nightmare because I haven't went to sleep yet. No, you are bag chasing and you woke up to bad news. Listen, if Brittney Griner or Brittney Renner was both over there at the same time, I would, if we have to trade the Russian merchant of death, I'm gonna say trade for Brittney Griner. Somebody, at least I know on the plane back home that somebody is gonna get some Gawk 3000. Don't you sit there and tell me that this chick that. So you got men negotiating on behalf of women that want to be like men, and then they get sent back on a plane home just because they women, because they was born biologically a woman. Okay. Hey, who am I? This is just my opinion. This is just my personal opinion. Demetrius Shaw says, another channel? Man, you work like the quantum computer of the 20 gigabyte of RAM. With the 20 gigabyte of RAM. How are you still alive? This is what we do over here. A new channel is coming, going to be announced tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm dropping a new channel. It's going to be absolutely awesome. What is this world coming to? Let's see the rest of this press conference, ladies and gentlemen.
Back home. People all across the country have learned about Brittney's story, advocated for her release, stood with her throughout this terrible ordeal. And I know that support meant a lot to her family. I'm glad to be able to say that Brittney's in good spirits. She's relieved to finally be heading home. And the fact remains that she's lost months of her life, experienced a needless trauma, and she deserves space, privacy, and time with her loved ones to recover and heal from her time being wrongfully detained. Brittney is an incomparable athlete, a two-time Olympic gold medalist for
Look at this dude reading this script. She's an accomplished athlete. So now we validate and we support athletes more than we support former Marines. Shout out to B Moore. B Moore says studs gonna be acting like they hard now more than they usually do. Facts. This is absolutely, positively egregious in every sense of the word, ladies and gentlemen. There is no way around it. There is no way around it. This is a bad trade, and this is bad for the black community. This is a bad trade, and this is bad for the black community. There is no way around it.
She endured mistreatment and a show trial in Russia with characteristic grit and incredible dignity.
He can't even read the prompt.
She represents the best America, best about America. It is across the board, everything about her. She wrote to me back in July. She didn't ask for special treatment, even though we've been working on a release from day one. She requested a simple quote, please don't forget about me and the other American detainees. Please do all you can to bring us home. We never forgot about Brittney. We've not forgotten about Paul Whelan, who's been unjustly detained in Russia for years.
Yes, you have.
This was not a choice.
Paul been over there for 4 years. Brittney been over there for 9 months. Self-inflicted wound. And you telling me you haven't forgot about him, but you was willing to trade for her, the Russian merchant of death, and leave him over there, just as a cherry on top. Okay. I'm about to buy me a 1993 Benz, what is this, 300 CE? Because I want to go back. I want to go back to the early 90s. I want to go back to the late 80s when things had a semblance of normalcy. I want to go back. All of my cars that I'm buying from now on is going to be old. I want to go back. I can't stay here. This makes no sense to me, ladies and gentlemen.
Home. We brought home Trevor Reed when we had a chance early this year. Sadly, for totally illegitimate reasons, Russia is treating Paul's case differently than Brittney's. And while we have not yet succeeded,
yeah, because they knew that
we are not giving up. We will never give up. We remain in close touch with Paul's family, the Whelan family.
Did you know?
My thoughts and prayers are with them today. They have to have such mixed emotions today.
He said that Brittney Griner represents everything that is good about America. What does this say? Brittney Griner was protesting the national anthem. Brittney Griner was protesting the national anthem. Now we're spending countless resources and trading. The thing that goes through my head, and I'm about to read y'all super chats. The things that go through my head is how many people, because we didn't just trade the Russian merchant of death, right? We traded the possibility of him continuing to arm and then subsequently be the result of countless lives that are taken that we're not going to know none of. We don't know how he contributes to the filth of society as far as Viktor Bout or Viktor Bout. Viktor Bout is literally the Lord of War. How many lives that we just trade for Brittney Griner? That's the question that we need to ask ourselves. How many lives did we trade for Brittney Griner and for the Democrats to continue to get and secure the black vote? How many lives, how many people are going to perish as a result of Russia making a strategic decision to ensure that they secured the Lord of War for a person that kneeled and protested the national anthem? This is sick. This is sick. This is a disease. We are diseased, and we do not even know what it is that we doing, and we asking for things that we know not of. We are sick. We are a sick people. Shout out to King Stephen. King Stephen says, what's crazy is Whelan is accused of espionage, not clearly guilty. Paul committed a crime and admitted, but gets more sympathy. You meant to me, Brittney committed a crime and admitted it, but it gets more sympathy. It's because she's biologically a woman. Elo says a trade for Superhead. Yes. A trade for Brittney Griner. Hell no. I know dudes that put their whole life on the line for some Gawk 3000. You know what I'm saying? Me University says, excellent reporting, AD, the cop to me. I saw a man saying, I'm being set up. Help me. Ain't nobody stupid. Ain't nobody stupid out here in these streets. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the vibe, all Me University. Also, Tyler Benton says, can you speak on why this merchant of death guy is so bad? I see people speaking of him being the worst of the worst, but I don't know a lot about him. Go watch the movie Lord of War, Tyler. Go watch the movie Lord of War. The best way that we can describe it is for you to watch the movie Lord of War. They say that the movie is largely made about him, that he was the inspiration behind the movie. He is a Russian arms dealer, trafficking the worst guns across the world, funding and trafficking guns and then running money back. And he's so bad that they had him held up in Little Guantanamo Bay in Illinois. Omar says this is wrong on so many levels. I couldn't believe the news when I saw it. Facts. I thought Russia had surrendered and gave up on a war in Ukraine and that they wanted to get back in America's good graces. But apparently that's not it. Apparently we ain't got no balls no more. Soul Whistler says, cause you Anton finally got my LLC and really creating opportunities big for change. Before I met you a year ago, Kev was bringing me here high off life. Shout out to everybody that's bag chasing. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Shout out to you for continuing to win. Jay Hunter Lee says, now I got to see all these uneducated people of his own celebrate this crap on his Facebook timeline. Just turn the Facebook off. Turn Facebook off, Jay Hunter Lee. It's gonna be a sad day.
Negotiated in good faith for Paul's release. I guarantee that. I say that to the family. I guarantee you. And I urge Russia to do the same to ensure that Paul's health and humane treatment maintained until we are able to bring him home. I don't want any American to sit wrongfully detained.
Shout out to Miss Jones. I see you, baby girl.
If we can bring that person home. My administration has now brought home dozens of Americans.
You know, I'm weak for the cute ones. I'm weak for the cute. I'm weak. Miss Jones, shout out to you. I'm speaking truth and I'm going to highlight you. And you ain't even super chatted. That's how weak I am for this, for the cute ones. Shout out to Narratives and Dialogue. Says, Anton, I agree with you on so many things, but not wanting to stand up during the national anthem as seen by many due to legit injustices, not just for black folk, is like freedom of speech. But here's the key, though. Here's the key. You can do what you want to do. The beauty in America, and let me tell you why it is that I disagree with you and why you should agree with me. The beauty in America is that we have Marines such as Paul Whelan that served in our country in order to ensure that we have the freedom to say and do what we want to do. Now, that's beautiful. Do what you want to do, but the problem is that you can't then ask the same people that you protested against for help. and securing your release. You decided to go over there and play for Russia. You decided to go over there and get a bag, and you also decided to go over there and carry your cannabis oil or whatever it is that you got caught with. You're going to have to face the consequences of that specific place. We cannot leave the people that have served this country over there while bringing home somebody that adds no value and protest against the very thing that's saving your life. You're protesting against the very thing, the very military, the might that we put dollars into that then secures the release of your particular person. You cannot do both. Pick a struggle. Have you ever seen a woman, right? Let me ask you a question. Would you have a woman that tell you that she's protesting against giving Gawk 3,000? Would you let her stay in your house? If she gets stranded and she call you at 2 a.m, are you getting out of your bed to go and go and change her tire? No, you not. She has every right to say, I am not going to give you Gawk 3,000. But then at the same time, I have every right to not come and get you because nobody told you to go out there and drive at 2 a.m. and get stranded, and I'm not changing your tire. I'm not getting nothing out of this. Would you go and rescue a chick that is being held by the Crips and Bloods in a neighborhood that is the worst of America? Let's say the red zone in Detroit or the south side of Chicago or Overtown and Little Haiti. And she says, I'm kidnapped and everything is about to go bad and they hold me over here. But that same chick decided to go off on you on Thanksgiving dinner and said that I ain't never talking to you again and I'm going over here to get this money. And you told that hoe, you said, listen, it's a war over there with the Crips and Bloods. Don't ride through that neighborhood. And she rolled through that neighborhood. And not only did she roll through the neighborhood, she decided that she wanted to have on Latin Kings colors and the GDs. And she wouldn't give you no head on the way out the door. You going to go save that hoe? But and let me add the caveat on top. I'm bringing it back to a realistic perspective. Let's take it out of this United States thing, right? The cherry on top is that your homie got captured by the same Crips and Bloods. Your homie is over there too, and he been over there for 4 years. You gonna go trade for that chick that spit in your face, or you gonna go get your homie that was holding you down? You going to get your homie. You going to get your homie. The person that actually got your back. This is bad on so many levels, bro. This is bad on so many levels. If we want to bring it back to a realistic perspective, that's exactly what we witnessed. Your homie been holding you down for life. Your homie had your back. Your homie was willing to die for you at one point in his life. And you going over there to get that chick? Tell me I'm off. Tell me I'm off. That's the equivalent. That's what we're looking at right now. Bring back 45, and I'm not talking about Michael Jordan. We ain't even like Michael Jordan when he was 45. He changed his number back to 23. Bring me President 45. Trump. Because Trump ain't negotiate. We said we don't negotiate with terrorists. Service members are furious right now. Shout out to you, Justin O. I'm reading all super chats. Chris Abrams says she probably broke down mentally. Is more to it than just the people think. Marines are taught to be mentally tough coming from a U.S. Marine. We don't care if you broke down mentally. We don't care. We're not giving up the Russian merchant to death for you. Or so we are. This is what equal looks like. There is no safety net for men. We get captured, we just got to suffer that junk out until we make it. For women, it's a little bit different. We just going to go and save them no matter what. Fifth Ave ill, or the Simps is. I'm going to call them Beta Biden from now on. First mission, when you free the Lord of Wars to modify all the guns. Russia's about to get back. WNBA will have sold out seats if she hits the floor. Is this swap equal victory? Is this swap an equal victory? Never. Roger Marine says you remind me of Steven and Django. You're right. And every time I see one of you niggas come up here, I say, Who is that nigga up on that neck? Me and Trump. Who that nigga up on that neck? I snatch your black ass off that neck. And then he said, Anton, my boy. Oz do your bidding. Oz do your bidding. Who's that nigga up on that neck? Every time I see one of you uppity Negroes continue to walk in on your horse thinking that you deserve something, you ain't did nothing. Get that nigga up off that neck. Steven, my boy. Every time one of you uppity Negroes come up in here, I have to say, your father would be rolling over his grave if he seen one of these niggas roll up in here. Who that nigga up on that neck? I remind me of Stephen too. How about that? Chat Ninjas said if they would have announced this before the election, no release for Paul Whelan, they would have lost this election. Oh, they just bought y'all vote. They just bought y'all vote. They just went and got it. They just went and got y'all vote. They went and got it.
Americans who were wrongfully detained or held hostage abroad, many of whom had been held since before I took office. And today, we also remember the other Americans that are being held hostage and wrongfully detained in Russia or anywhere else in the world. Reuniting these Americans with their loved ones remains a priority for my administration, every person in my administration involved in this. And we're going to continue to work to bring home every American who continues to endure such an injustice. We also want to prevent any more American families from suffering this pain and separation. And I strongly urge all Americans to take precautions, including reviewing the State Department's travel advisories before they travel overseas, which now includes warnings about the risk of being wrongfully detained by a foreign government. Make no mistake about it. This work is not easy. Negotiations are always difficult. There are never any guarantees. But it's my job as President of the United States to make the hard calls and protect Americans everywhere in the world, anywhere in the world. And I'm proud that today we have made one more family whole again. So welcome.
Look at Cam in the back.
And now I'd like to invite Sherelle to say a few words to you all. Of course, she's not excited at all about this. Sherelle, it's all yours, kiddo.
Look at Cam.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Got the faux locks in her head, got another woman's hair in her head and everything. Okay. Got the 2 earrings, double hoop. Look at the picture that we're painting here for the American people, for all of our little girls over there. Look at what it is that we got going on over here, ladies and gentlemen. And I want y'all to hold that, keep that same energy. Keep that same energy.
So over the last 9 months, y'all have been so privy to one of the darkest moments of my life. And so today I'm just standing here.
Look at that fake smile.
With emotions, but the most important emotion that I have right now is just sincere gratitude for President Biden and his entire administration. He just mentioned this work is not easy, and it has not been. There's been so many hands involved. And so I'd like to take a moment to just specifically mention a few. Vice President Harris, Secretary Blinken, Jake Sullivan, Josh Geltzer from the National Security Council, Roger Cartson and Fletcher Schoen from the Hostage Envoy's
She might be the new star of the Democratic Party. Listen, I would not doubt at all that we've just secured a new legislator, congressperson, Georgia governor. This person right here hits every single box for how it is that we then start to promote women into certain positions. Every single box. They said that man is the Russian Tony Stark. He is. He is. And he was winking at y'all when he got arrested because he knew that eventually they was going to come and get him. This is literally, listen, checks all the boxes. Mark my words. December 8th, 2022, we're going to come back to this live stream and I'm going to tell y'all, I told you so. I told you so. I told you that this person was going to be the next one on The Price is Right. Checks every single box, is going to be a star of the Democratic Party, and we are not going to forget this lady. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
A special thank you to Governor Richardson and Mickey, the Mercury players, the WNB PA for your advocacy. And also, you guys may not know this, but my family has been tremendously supported by the Wasserman Agency. BG's agent, Lindsay Colas, has just been amazing for me and my family throughout this process. So today my family is whole, but as you all are aware, there's so many other families who are not whole. And so BG's not here to say this, but I will gladly speak on her behalf and say that BG and I will remain committed to the work of getting every American home, including Paul, whose family is in our hearts today. As we celebrate BG being home, we do understand that there are still people out here who are enduring what I endured the last 9 months of missing tremendously their loved ones. So
I want to see what LeBron say about this when LeBron tweets.
And today is just a happy day for me and my family. So I'm going to smile right now. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
This is so dumb. I'm reading super chat shortly.
What has Russia gotten in return for this prisoner swap?
From the White House, President Biden, Vice President Harris, and Cherelle Griner, the wife of Brittney Griner, BG, has just been freed from a Russian prison in a dramatic prisoner swap. But Paul Whelan, who often had been mentioned in the same breath as Brittney Griner, was not freed. And Cherelle Griner right there saying she knows it's a moment of disappointment for his family, but she also smiled for the joy that she is feeling as well.
If you are not disappointed, ladies and gentlemen, if you are not bothered, let me read the super chats, and then I'm gonna give my thoughts. The porch session says, "Best president ever, 46-1. She is free. Why? Fronto Unito says, all this energy for one Duncan Stud. Where's this energy for Americans still stuck in Afghanistan? I don't know what the hell we doing no more. I don't know what this country has come to." King Stephen UGD says, "This is not about bashing black women. We asking people to have common sense." Facts. We freed a powerful person during a war effort in this country. I don't know where they don't see that at. I don't know why we can't understand this. I don't know why we can't see through the weeds and why we continue to fall down every single day. January Man says, "Brittney just skipped the entire lunch line while the military rots away, shaking my damn head." Freedman's Journal says, "Scissor Sisters aren't a family. Men and women equals family." Shout out to my dog Lance. Julius Germain says, "Anton, why did they lead to others? Because they don't care about men. We don't care about men. They care about securing the vote so that they can continue to stay in power, and they care about continuing to align with this agenda that's eroding the fabric of what America is. I'm a soldier. Screw this ish. It's a slap in the face. Facts. Let me pose a question to all of my soldiers. And let me jump off this real quick because I need y'all to see me full throttle. To all of my soldiers, right? I just want to ask y'all this one question. How do you feel about fighting for a country that prioritizes a WNBA player that does not stand for the national anthem over you? Just a question. How do you feel about fighting for a country that prioritizes a WNBA player who protests against the national anthem, admitted to actually doing the wrongdoing, while a former Marine and businessman is still stuck over there for the last 4 years, and his family is still hoping that he gets home? But we champion, we highlight, and we celebrate people that don't actually add value into our lives. How would you feel if you got into it with a woman, right? And your homeboy been holding you down, but your homeboy got caught up, right? Rolled through, unjustly detained. And then this woman that was talking stuff and saying what she is and ain't gonna do. And I'm about to go over here into another neighborhood, and you told her ass, you said, "Listen, You got the freedom to do what you want to do, but you cannot and you should not go over there. But I'm not going to stop you, because it ain't like we can stop women from doing what it is that we want to do nowadays, even if it's in your own best interest. You're leaving my coverage and my protection. And she go out there and she get caught up. Now, she hated you on the way out the door. She wasn't rocking with you. She was taking your resources, right? The judge made you pay for her housing and all of that, right? You've afforded her a level of grace that is only afforded to a woman. But she left out and she went and did what she wanted to do, because she can do what she want to do when she want to do it, right? And she get caught up and they got captured by a gang. Let's just say the Crips and the Bloods, right? And you got somebody that they need. You got something that they want. And this thing is going to give them an infinite amount of power to be able to really, really tear some shit up in real life. And then you go over there and you say, you know what? Give me that whining, complaining woman that didn't care for me in the first place. Give me her, and I'm going to leave my homeboy over there, and I'm going to give you the thing that you really wanted. That was going to tear some shit up. In what way, shape, or form does that make sense? Just curious. In what way, shape, form, logic, reasoning, business perspective, in what way does that make sense? Somebody help me to understand why this is considered sanity. Why we have a fumbling president. And listen, I don't know what to think. I don't know what to say. I don't know how it is that y'all substantiate this argument. How do we leave a Marine over there that has been over there for the last 4 years, and we get a WNBA player and bring her back that admitted to doing wrongdoing? How do we trade the Russian merchant of death for a woman that don't even stand for the traditional family values, nor do they have your best interests at heart, and they actually protest against what it is that we stand for here in this United States of America, the greatest country on earth, that is largely being eroded by bad values? When feminism kicked in, this is how it is that we freed Brittney Griner. She shouldn't even have been over there in the first place. If feminism didn't exist, Brittney Griner would have never been in Russia in the first place. Whole nother conversation. If feminism didn't exist, Brittney Griner would have never been in Russia in the first place. We would have had our women at home, taking care of business, doing what they're supposed to do. But now we're spending countless hours and resources. We got a war going on in Ukraine. We got a war going on the south side of Chicago. We got a war going on in the red zone in Detroit. We got a war going on over there in Atlanta. We got a war going on over in Houston. We got a war going on in Little Haiti and Overtown. We got a war going on over in Los Angeles. We got a homeless crisis here in the United States of America. Inflation is running out of control. People can't even afford to breathe. It's people that are getting kicked out of their homes. People are getting laid off. Elon Musk just released the Twitter files that showcase how suppression, as far as the news as being out there, as far as millennials that work for Twitter at one point was suppressing what it was that went out to the general public so that they can get their friends in office. You got these corporations that's on TV every day that is profiting off of you, but then at the same time, they are giving you the thing that is the worst for you. Egregious drug laws that keep people locked up. Families are being eroded. Tax base is just going down. The markets are in turmoil. People's 401ks is at risk. Did you know that the demographic of people that is joining the workforce the most is over 70 years old? 70 years old and older are the people that are joining the workforce the most. I'm going to read y'all super chats. I see them. And our priority and the thing that we are allocating our time and resources to as a country is to free Brittney Griner. The best news that you can give me in December, in a year that has been nothing less than tumultuous, is that you can come to me on a press conference with Kamala Harris in the background, Cam. Biden is reading from a prompter, and you got a woman that got 4 locks and 2 earrings in her nose talking about thank you for freeing what it is that we don't even represent and stand for in the first place, who is largely, in my opinion, watch my words, going to be a star and become a star of the Democratic Party. You telling me that this is what America is? I submit to you that we are living in the end of times. The modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. And all they did was secure the black vote so that they can continue to sell you the thing that's the worst for you. And you willingly and loved it. You loved them for it. The Democratic Party and President Biden and what it is that we see from our legislative branches today and our leadership is nothing more than that son that killed his father on Gladiator. They gave you games and you loved them for it. They gave you games and you loved them for it. They played a game in your life and you loved them for it. They gave you death. They gave you games. They gave you pivoting. They gave you feminism. They gave you women. They gave you all of this crap that was bad for you. And the worst part about it is that this was the party that was actually advocating for you to stay enslaved, whereas the Republican Party was the ones that actually freed the slaves. And they bamboozled you. They turned it around. And you thought that you was doing something because you had the freedom to choose for yourself when you didn't even know what you was doing. You operated out of ignorance instead of operating out of abundance and being educated. You are willfully ignorant. You sign your own death certificate every single day by advocating for, supporting, and continuing to go down this road instead of facing an uncomfortable truth. The uncomfortable truth is, when given the option to choose for ourselves, we often choose wrong. And in no place can it be exhibited or better highlighted than looking at what it is that we just negotiated for and gave Russia the merchant of death, Viktor Bout. They made a movie about this dude. Listen, don't let me stay up on my soapbox too long because I'll start preaching. And it ain't going to be the message that your preacher on Sunday told you. It's going to be the truth. Be selfish before you can be selfless, because you can't help anybody and you can't pour out of an empty cup. And it's never been a better time for you to get your life together by making sure you align yourself with a group of people that's going in your direction. Shout out to everybody that joined the Bag Chasers today. Shout out to everybody that's a part of the Patreon. The link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let me read some of these super chats really quickly. My dog Razik says, my thoughts on this will flag the entire channel. Robert says, we gave Thanos the time stone. Mimi Roberts says, we are upside down. Facts. Aaron says they just traded MJ for Brian Scalabrine. No, they traded him for Oliver Miller on his way out the door. Tyler Benton says, Brittney Griner cross-country tour coming to you, and they're going to make a lot of money. Dallas Jack says, you serve the country and they will leave you over there. You disrespect the country and rep the check boxes, they will trade a demon for you. Yo, this is the best super chat of the day. Shout out to everybody that contributed to the platform. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I know we went live a little bit earlier than usual, but I had to mine this out because this is absolutely egregious. If you have not already, please support Teach Hanley. 30% off your first order plus a free gift. That link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Also, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Hit like from YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to the channel. New channel coming soon. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter. I'm going to be tweeting about this all day. Also, Kevin's Corner, hit me with the 2-ball, says, all rigged, just want the bag chase now. Shaking my head. Facts. We just want to go bag chase now. Shout out to my bag chasers. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all stay informed. We do this every single day. Occasionally, I might jump in a little bit earlier or later, depending on what it is that we're trying to solve for. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. Stay informed, stay aware, and then make sure you join the Bag Chasers. I'm out. Peace.